Deep sea divers. What are your horror stories? Free dive to about 160 feet in Dean's Blue Hole in the Bahamas. It's where a lot of the freediving world records are set. Super neat place. Google a picture. Anyway, I'd never really been past 100 foot freediving. But this was the perfect place to do it. No current. There's ropes to keep you straight and allow a slight pull back up. Scary part is that you become pretty strongly negatively buoyant after like 60 feet. So you're basically hauling her down while doing nothing and using very little air. So I'm dazed out a bit, feeling good and counting the lines that mark depth, and all of a sudden feel pressure like my trachea is going to collapse, and wake up and realize I've counted to the line that's around 160 feet or so. Very scary moment because I wasn't sure if my body could take the depth or if I had gone too far and wouldn't have enough air to get back up, which is a much slower and more air intensive process. I've been scuba diving a few times and really enjoy it, but the thought of this kind of diving makes me want to throw up. Free diving is really fun coming from a scuba background. There's far less gear, so you feel much more maneuverable and free. Haha. It's just learning to breathe hold that's the learning curve. Yeah, just learn to hold your breath or die. Anyone can easily learn how to hold their breath and free dive. It's just some don't live to tell the tale. Well, here is my story. I was diving in a local pond with a group of much more advanced divers, cave divers, than I, just an advanced certification at the time. I'm leading the dive, as to get used to pressures and responsibilities of heading the procession. They are mentoring me. It is a Texas puddle, visibility 10 feet maximum, not too deep, maybe 25 feet. The known horrible visibility makes it impossible to navigate by compass. We follow a line, string, put by other divers. These lines go from one sunken item to another. So, I know I'm about to hit a small sunken boat. Don't remember which one. There are a few similar in a row in a same state of decay. So, I'm first in the group. I get to the boat and see someone's black army boot sticking out from the inner quarters. Curious thing is, it looks somewhat new. Not like items you find on the bottom. Hard to see. Too much muck in the water. So, I touch the boot, thinking it is by itself, but it won't lift. Like it is attached to something heavy. I put my hand further in and feel the leg continuing out. Pants. The calf. And I see the second leg now. F with a big letter F. Right. I turn around and show a sign for the emergency ascent to the group behind me. Everyone has a sour face. No one wants to surface, but it is a rule that if one says up, others in a group must abort. No questions. They wanted me to explain with signs why. But what is a diver sign for a cadaver? I feel like I rushed toward the surface, even though trying to stay calm and take time. So, we are on the lake's surface. I have this adrenaline rush. Can't breath enough. So, I tell them there is a body down there. I see rolling eyes from everyone. Once they see I'm serious. A fun bunch. Right? So, I describe in detail what I saw. We go down. I don't lead anymore. We make a group search pattern for the line. But once we locate it, we don't know if we should go forward or backwards, as there are a number of boats on the line, and who knows in which the body is in, and how far we drifted while talking it out on the surface. Well, we find all boats before finding the original one, of course. So, our customary leader goes into the cabin of the boat and we wait. I'd say he was rather courageous at this point. Went right in. Then he emerges from the cloud of muck and tells us all to surface. So, gluing information together from what we learned later on, turns out the police or some other agency had a body recovery training in the same lake the same day. When they went for lunch, they stuffed their fully dressed and anatomically correct rubber doll in one of the sunken boats for a few hours for safekeeping. Well, I died a little that day. That's the most asshole thing I've read yet. Really, guys? Damn thing could have popped free and scared somebody half to death. Never mind freaking you out. It was not inflated. It was fully made of heavy rubber. Negative buoyancy. The guy who went in, he told me that during the first 10 seconds he thought it was a body too. But using a flashlight and being physically close to the body he did learn it was a doll after a while. I guess the experience did not scar him. I would be too scared to turn on a flashlight and get physically close enough. Diving the day before a hurricane on a small South Pacific island. Out of nowhere a black and white sea snake, venomous, wrapped itself around my arm. Apparently this happens from time to time before major storms. They can sense it and look for things that are heading towards the shore so that they don't have to put in so much effort to get out of the sea. As soon as I was in the shallows it uncurled and headed up the beach where it hid under a breadfruit tree. I thought I was going to get bitten to death by a snake at sea. Turns out I was just a taxi for a very calm but rather rushed reptile. You guys were in it together. He wouldn't want to kill his only ticket-tagged foe as quick as he can. So it makes sense. Plan B. Bite guy and ride corpse into the shallows. That's a fail plan. Corpses don't swim well. And how much experience do you have riding corpses to shore? Not judging. Saved someone from drowning while scuba diving. Person had an epileptic seizure at 85 feet of water in a pitch black cavern that I was diving also. I was hovering above just watching the flashlights move about when I noticed one flashlight not moving. I swam down and was met with the other diver with no regulator in their mouth. Eyes open and just on their knees. The diver's buddy was next to them and in complete shock to what was going on and was not assisting whatsoever. 15 years of diving and instructor training came over me like it was second nature. I thought her regulator just came out, so I popped mine out and offered it to her. That when I noticed she had done mentally checked out, I popped my #2 regulator in my mouth and attempted to put my #1 regulator in her mouth, but her teeth were completely clenched. I then pressed the purged button to get air into her mouth and noticed her cheeks moving, so I know air was getting in there. That was good enough for me. I then grabbed her under her arm and get the regulator flowing in her mouth and swam to the opening of the cavern and then up over 60 feet to get her to the surface. One on the surface, did everything I was trained to do. Inflate BC, dumped her weights, got her on her back and started towing to land. As I'm towing her in she is regurgitating all the water she swallowed and inhaled. It seemed like gallons of water. Got her to land where other divers assisted me in getting all her gear off. She was breathing fine and alive, but in shock for a while and slowly came around like nothing happened. We were very lucky that we were only 10 minutes into the dive, or for sure we would have both been bent and spending time in a hyperbaric chamber. The crazy thing is she didn't tell anyone she had epilepsy, and when we later reviewed her consent form she checked off no to epilepsy. I put myself at risk shooting up to the surface like that, but if I came across that situation again I would not hesitate to save someone's life. Did she know she had epilepsy? I know more than one person that has dive pressure / exertion as a seizure trigger, and one that discovered that the bad way. A 60-foot cavern dive is not beginner level. She must have had a few deep dives under her belt before doing this. It doesn't have to be discovered on the first time. Potentially this was the deepest and why it happened. You should absolutely have experience at the depth that you intend to cave dive at. Cave dives are already incredibly dangerous and just about every rule about them is written in blood. I once had diarrhea at 100 feet. That sucked. It was amazing how warm it made me at depth, but was a nightmare to clean up. I vomited at my own stench, or maybe from the flu. Edit. Thank you for rewarding one of the most truly horrible experiences of my life. Some say everything happens for a reason. I now like to think I endured that literal shit show. This happened in front of maybe 20 people, so that years later I would be able to entertain a few anonymous strangers. Being wrapped in a warm suit of my own diarrhea 100 feet underwater is now my greatest fear. Night diving is incredibly creepy. You don't realize how dark the ocean is until you are in it. I don't like closing my eyes in a swimming pool during the day. F that night dive shit. I have a couple friends who did night dives for their paddy cert. Closing your eyes in a swimming pool. You never know if that shark is gonna get you. Jaws did a number on me as a kid in the 80s. Same with Freddy. I was an insomniac as a kid. I saw Jaws when I was 6. While on vacation in Miami. I've been terrified of the ocean ever since. I love the beach and being near the ocean. But you couldn't pay me to go on a cruise and I won't go in the ocean past my knees. The only scare I've had is some jackass in a yacht cruising through our dive location at full throttle. You could hear the boat coming for a solid minute or two before it flew over our heads. Our boat had a dive flag on it, and we had a buoy with a dive flag on it. They didn't even slow down. Barracuda, sharks, rays, manatees, dolphins, all cool. Humans are way scarier. I work as a paddling coach on lakes. The number of times I've attempted to gesture at a pleasure craft for them to stop, only to have some dude in cargo shorts wave back like an idiot is higher than I can count. Some dude in cargo shorts wave back like an idiot. I feel personally attacked. Oh, you ain't jetting them dicks.